Hello, I'm Patrick Thomas, and welcome to Ladder Talks. I'm going to point you to the graphic in the background. It's a circus tent. Oh, by the way, I got that off of a free graphics uh, page. So, this is what I'm going to call the day after the circus commentary. Go ahead and minimize that so I can get something a little more professional up and running. I have received so much hate email in the last 24 to 48 hours. It's almost unbelievable. It's 11:35 on Friday morning. I've already done one brief coffee cup talk this morning, Facebook Live, and I tell you what, I knew the haters were out there, but I never knew to the extent that they would be so foolish. One in particular called me out on Facebook Messenger, and I didn't have time to respond, but eventually got around to, I didn't respond, I just called him up. And I said, what can I do for you? Or, you got something to say? And he said what he had to say. And one of the things that he said was, I know very little. He knows very little about what's going on. Interesting note. So as he was criticizing me for speaking out, he knew very little. And that's the problem many times, is some of these people, they seem to be, oh, let's just say, friends because of some single good deed that someone does. And they just love that person because of some single good deed. But I guess they really don't understand what that person is really capable of behind the one single good deed. So anyhow, after this individual said what he had to say, I asked him, I said, are you done? And he said, yeah, I'm done. I said, okay, my turn, right? You would think that he would listen just as I did. Well, the moment I started in on him by saying, it's apparent that you know very little, since you just admitted to knowing very little, he started getting defensive. Yeah, started getting defensive. You know, you expect people who know very little to get defensive. He would have been the kind of guy that if I would have had a call-in number, that I would have invited to call into the show here, and I would have ate his lunch. And then I would have taken his lunch bag and I would put it over his head and cut out a few little peepholes, and I would have probably wrote on his forehead, clown. They're out there, folks. They're out there. Now, moving on to business. Last night, I had a conversation with someone last night, and I'm going to save them the maybe embarrassment of mentioning their names. It's not important that I mention names. It's really not. Sometimes it's just the story or the humor in something that you see that it doesn't require anybody's name. Who needs credit for a joke or a point that might be humorous? But after the city council meeting last night, I had a visit with an individual, and the individual said, yeah, I was going to go over to the Lonoke County Fair tonight. And I interrupted him. I said, but you chose to come to the Jacksonville Circus instead? Well, he kind of looked at me like, yeah, you're right. And I said, can I quote you on that? He didn't say no, but I'm just not going to mention any names. But the people who have been communicating to me and the thoughts about last night that are being communicated to me, the subject material that has come to me in the last let's just call it the last 12 hours since last night. I was on the phone with people last night all the way up through probably midnight. Some of the public comments coming out of the seats, and I'm not speaking of the two individuals who got up and spoke with prepared statements. I'm speaking about some of the comments that people had coming out of the seats. It was really a lot of heckling, if you will. And while some comments were made when those two people got up there and spoke, like, shut up and sit down. It's like, really? Did y'all say that? How tacky. Were you trying to impress upon them not to speak? Tacky. Not to mention just outright rude. On the subject now of the city council members, I think the attention has now moved from what we'll just call the three to another three. Today, as I was thinking about how to open up this, I wasn't sure what to do or say. You know, I had thoughts of playing circus music in the background, and I settled for just a stupid little graphic of a circus tent to open this up. But I really wanted to play circus music in the background, and I wanted to start out as a Southern preacher. Brothers and sisters, welcome to Jacksonville City Council, and y'all come on in and let me preach you a sermon here. Yeah, I heard so much. I never heard so much preaching as I did last night. The very first thing that I heard last night was, we're all guilty of it. We've been doing it this way for years. Let me get this straight. I've been speeding down the highway for years doing wrong, and it's okay to continue to speed down the highway. And when you get pulled over by the Arkansas State Police and he says, sir, you were doing 100 miles an hour down the freeway and the speed limit is, let's just say, 55. Well, I didn't know. No, you knew. You get a ticket, folks. You get a ticket. You can't say to that trooper, well, I've been doing it for years and you just now caught me. And let's forgive and forget and move on. Really? Did I hear that last night? Not only an admission of guilt from another city council member, but that it's okay. It's okay. Just because we've done it in the times past, it's okay. Did I really hear that? Rut row raggy. It just keeps coming out, folks. As I said before, you've heard me pop these papers. That's a Rush Limbaugh thing. Y'all just keep giving me more to talk about. I would never in my wildest dreams expected to hear a city council member saying, well, we've been doing it this way for years, and let's just forgive and forget. What, all of a sudden we're going to stop? Wow. So back to the three, now being replaced with a whole nother three. The attention is now on these other three like you would not believe. Yep. When you do right, you don't have anything to worry about. When you do wrong and draw attention to yourself like that, folks, when you get elected, that's one thing. But when you get voted out of office because of stuff like last night, that's on you. You city council members were put in office by the citizens, and In some cases, they didn't think that there would be anybody else who could beat you, so nobody else ran against you. Folks, this is part of the reason why I'm for term limits on our city council members. We need fresh hearts. We need fresh minds. We need new ideas. But nobody wants to step up and run against any of these city council members because they're like, oh, well, he's been in there so long. He's been a get-along kind of guy for so many years, and he's never upset anybody. Who can beat him? That's the problem with not having term limits. So, you three that are going to remain nameless here today, and if anybody out there hearing this don't know what's going on, get caught up. Get caught up. You should know these names if you're paying attention. There's really a whole lot I'd like to say about last night, but I think I've covered some of the comments that come out of the audience, and I think I've covered the perspective of what the audience seen amongst the city council members last night. Now, are we going to move on? No. I don't think it's as easy as Mayor Johnson said last night. I don't think it's as easy as saying, well, let's just all go to festival and let's sing Kumbaya. And no, this town is hurt. Some like to say the phrase butt hurt. This town is now butt hurt. And while some of you out there want to say that I'm butt hurt, no, I'm just the messenger here, folks. I'm just the messenger, okay? I'm just the pretty guy that's got a clean haircut and has a tie on because I want you to take me serious. There's other people out there that did not attend last night that are behind the messages that I'm bringing to you. If anybody were to measure the popularity of this situation based on who was shouting the loudest last night, no. You're a real quiet minority. There's a huge swell out there of people who are upset over this. And then there's a handful of people who just know just very little, and they absolutely don't know nothing at all. They just think that somebody's got a pretty face and, oh, I'm going to vote for that person because I really like that person. But they know very little about what's really going on. Folks, this is not over. While this chapter may be over, this is not over. I'm going to quote the late Tommy Dupree. He was in a meeting. He was in a historical group meeting, and I just happened to be there that day because I used to be a member of that group. And he said to that group as he was asked to be the speaker, the late Tommy Dupree said, the problem with Jacksonville is us. Now, there's no meeting minutes from that group. I seriously doubt anybody quoted Tommy Dupree, but I was sitting right next to the man when he said it. And he said, the problem with Jacksonville is us. Now, I'm in that group too. I see some of the problems and somebody else sees some of the problems. He is absolutely right. And I even said it in the mayor's debate. I repeated his words. And here I am today, repeating his words. Just saying things like, we're going to be unified or we're going to have unity. That is not good enough. Just because you spoke it doesn't mean it's going to happen. The voters who turn out for some of these elections is ridiculously low. I've already discussed the voter turnout in a previous talk. The interest of what's going on in this town, while it is increasing because of social media, the interest needs to continue to grow. People need to know what's going on. And I hope to continue to bring to you what's going on because there's a whole lot more. There's a whole lot more to talk about. So it's not over with. There is still more FOIA requests coming. There is still more information that's going to come out because while you thought last night was some sort of circus, there's still more to be talked about. And I'm going to direct your attention to Jacksonville Police Department. Why is there so much turmoil inside Jacksonville Police Department? As I said in the trailer, is there a power struggle going on somewhere? I can see all the eyes and the ears inside JPD just perking up, speaking right now, going, oh, who's he talking about now? You don't hear me talking about the fire department, folks. You don't hear me talking about the street department or sanitation or public works. It seems like all the conversations here lately is about JPD. And as I've seen someone storm out of the meeting last night, pretty upset because everybody wants to make it about JPD. It's all about JPD. What about the rest of the employees, folks? Why is our city council member so focused on JPD? What's the motive? There's a motive. We just don't know it yet. I've got some ideas, but I'm not going to voice them. Y'all need to start paying attention. Sit up straight. I can't believe, and I'm going to plug CM Smoke today, I can't believe somebody actually called for a boycott on CM Smoke today. How ridiculous. What an idiot. A flaming idiot. You fool. I don't own CM Smoke. Just because I go up there and I frequent them. You think you're going to hurt me by bringing CM Smoke into this? You're a flaming idiot. I'm talking to the individual who made that post. Flaming idiot. Idiot. Some of you know I've got an idiots list. Well, this individual is now on the idiots list. And I'm not going to call out his name. I wouldn't want to try to smear him publicly, but those of you who've seen his ridiculous post, you know who he is. You probably agree with me. He's an idiot. And I know a little bit about that individual since he claims to know one of my family members. Yeah. Mr. Idiot, just keep running your mouth. So anyhow, I wasted $2 on the Democrat Gazette this morning. Somebody sent me a message, said, you need to go get a copy of the Democrat Gazette. I did. And I mentioned it this morning in the paper. Meetings law likely violated, Jacksonville told. All it was talking about the letter from Jegley. I talked about that yesterday. They hadn't even printed this paper yet, and I was already talking about it. So, folks, what I'm telling you is, if you want to know what's going on, you might want to tune into Ladder Talks. You might want to pay attention to Arkansas Live, and you might want to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jacksonville, Arkansas. No spaces. Just find any of the videos that I've done, click on it, go to the channel, and subscribe. You'll get a notification. Certain city council members subscribed. She wants to know what's going on. I don't know why you wouldn't want to know what's going on. So, subscribe, show your support. Go over to, I said this morning, go over to D2 Graphics. I don't know what, they need to change their name to D2 Graphics, I guess. D2 Comics. Go see D2 Comics. Get you a coffee cup. Get you a Studio 25. Show your support for them. Pay them $10. Show your support for Studio 25 and what I'm doing here. You know, no money's coming my way. I don't need your money. Okay? I do not need your money. I don't want your money. But show your support. Go do it. Put something over here, you know, I love Patrick or Ladder Talks or whatever you want to. You don't have to put their D2 Comics. I said it right that time. D2 Comics. Go get you a coffee cup. I'm Patrick Thomas. This is Ladder Talks. We're just a little bit taller than a soapbox, and believe me, as I told you before, when I got the blue tie on, I'm getting up there. This is serious stuff, folks. Go to the Ladder Talks page, like it. Go to the Arkansas Live group, join it, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jacksonville, Arkansas. I hope y'all have a good day, and sit up straight and pay attention. I'm going to come back with another segment where I'm going to talk about Mr. Jegley. You're going to like what I have to say there. I got to go check on some emails that I sent to the State Attorney General. And I'll be back with a segment about Mr. Jegley. Yeah. Y'all have a good day. We'll talk to you later. Bye.